criticism has never been something that we've been particularly good at as a species. And I don't just mean receiving criticism, I mean the whole concept of it. We're actually often really bad at giving criticism, but we are particularly bad at receiving criticism, processing criticism, and using it constructively, both internally and externally. And I think these days, social media has probably made this worse because we tend to be falling a little bit like water. We're going the path of least resistance, and so we fall into groups that are like-minded, and so we're not challenged because of that situation. Criticism, both giving and receiving, is actually a trained skill, and it is really, really important for how we function. And I've been really surprised over the years when I've had everybody from my mother to complete strangers saying, "Oh, no, don't say anything, you don't want to rock the boat," or "No, they don't want to hear you." And I have spoken to managers of businesses and pointed out something constructively that I thought was problematic, whether it's a risk or a bad servicing or a way in which they're doing something which is inefficient. And I've actually had managers of businesses thank me for providing that feedback. And because of this, we don't know how to deal with when important criticism comes our way. We don't know how to process it and take it on board and pull it apart and take the bits that are valuable to us. Now, I was quite fortunate in that when I did my first music degree, this was a performance degree, every Friday morning, the brass department assembled for 2 or 3 hours, and when it was your turn, you had to get up in front of the entire department and play a piece of music, a solo piece of music, and then the entire department would critique your performance. It was brutal. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating. It was often really depressing. But it wasn't just to tear each other apart. It was designed to point out how you could make something better. Unless you know that there is a problem, how can you improve your performance? How can you improve your design? How can you improve your implementation? And if you want to work in the creative industry, and frankly, if you want to exist in modern society with social media, you need to have a bit of a thick skin. It goes both ways. One of the biggest problems I had in my first full-time creative job is that nobody else in the team understood audio. And so quite often I'd do something, whether it's some new sound design or a new piece of music or whatever, and I'd sort of share it around and people would be like, "Oh, that's really good." Okay, and often that was it. It was just this vague, polite, they wanted to be positive, and it had no value. And I'm not necessarily blaming them for that. I actually had people say, "Well, we don't know how to critique sound and music." I'm like, okay, how does it make you feel? What's your instant reaction to it? What does it make you think? Your clients need to be able to give you useful feedback. I've had a client recently who's just been really difficult to work with because the feedback is along the lines of, "Oh yeah, look, I need a sound. It just needs to be really cool." What does that mean? You know, it just needs to be cool. Make it. I want it to be a really cool sound. No, I don't know what you mean. That statement has no value. It just needs to be cool, doesn't mean anything. And so from the point of view of me trying to create something for my client, I am left with no basis to work on. And so criticism is how we value a thing, how we actually say, this is good about this thing, this is bad about this thing, this is why I think it's bad, and this is how I think it could be better. But me just saying, "Oh, that's awesome," it gives them a 2-second endorphin burst, but it doesn't give them anything to grow on. It doesn't give them anything to learn by. It doesn't help them become even better. Without criticism, we cannot grow, we cannot succeed. And when I say without criticism, I mean both giving and receiving. It is critically important, no pun intended, and I think anybody that has students, has mentees, has interns, has juniors, you really should spend some time saying, okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about, I'm going to give you some criticism and I'm going to go through why I think this, and then I want you to do the same, and make it an open session. And it only has to be for a few minutes every now and again, but it allows everybody to feel comfortable with both giving and receiving that sort of feedback. And I think that helps all of us grow creatively.